Jennie Goloboy has appeared in Apex magazine and fantasy and science fiction. She is self-publishing a novel and shorter fiction under her pen name, Nora
Fleischer.
Sorry, I looked at that and got scared.
That's okay.
She is self-published a novel and shorter fiction under her pen name, Nora Fleischer. She's also written about early American history, including a monograph based on her dissertation. She lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with her husband and 2 children and works as a literary agent. Take it away, Jennie.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting. I wanted to say, first up, I am giving away a copy of this book. So if you like what you hear, please sign up. I'm going to be reading a part I don't often read, which is the very beginning of the book. This story is kind of a buddy comedy where 2 people who have nothing in common are forced to work together. And this part explains why they're forced to work together. So here we go. Dana Elson sat in her rental car, rain pounding against the windshield, and thought about rainbow daydreams and the pitch that was going to change her life. She imagined striding into their office in her chic dress, tights, and boots, her statement earrings swinging, her sample tucked in her briefcase. She'd shake hands confidently with the whole acquisitions team. Then she'd tell them how her new series would fit into their roster of calendar-based gift items. After that, she'd open the carrying case, revealing her sample. A beam of sunlight would emerge from a nearby window to illuminate its hand-painted glory. Everyone would be awestruck. Then they'd give her $1 million cash. Sure, why not? Dana sighed and watched the rain. Less than 24 hours until her real presentation, and she was making herself crazy. But how was she supposed to relax when she knew how important this deal would be? What she really wanted to do was call her mom, who always knew how to tell her when she was worrying too much. If only that were possible. She picked up the soda in the cup holder and took a big swig. Dana would later reflect that this was the exact point at which her life had forked from its intended direction because her soda bottle was still in her briefcase. The soda she'd drunk from had been left by the car's previous occupant, and something terrible had happened to it. A slippery lump of something disgusting slid down her throat and caught, slowly oozing downward. Dana choked, gagged, swung the driver's side door open, and caught herself just before throwing up on a stranger's shoes. The shoes belonged to a man who was giving her a sharp, cold, terrifying look that made her burrow backwards into her seat. Automatically, she noticed the details that she would put into a sketch. He was bald, blue-eyed, thin, and very pale. His jeans, gray hoodie, and black leather jacket were sodden with rain, but he didn't seem to notice. He glared at her, and she bit the inside of her lip, willing herself to keep silent and still. "That's mine," he said. He reached over her and took the empty soda bottle from the cup holder. Then he shut the door and walked off into the rain. Suddenly, Dana was easy to leave, no matter how nauseous she was. Dana managed to check into her hotel, even though she was shivering with fever, and she could still feel the gooey lump slowly oozing down her esophagus, heating her as it went. Sprawled out on the bed, the ceiling spinning above her, she thought about how when she was sick as a child and her mother used to wrap her in a blanket and put a cool, wet washcloth on her forehead. Now she wanted her mom more than ever. No, don't think of that. She was sick and alone in a hotel room, and she was going to have to call Rainbow Daydreams in the morning to cancel her appointment. God only knew when they'd be willing to see her again, and she was out the plane fare and hotel room, plus maybe hospital fees, because if she didn't start feeling better really soon, she was calling 911 to take her to go get her stomach pumped. "Hello, operator. I'm the biggest idiot you've talked to today." And then, great, now someone was knocking on the door. She didn't have to answer that. Nope. But the door was opening. Housekeeping must be confused. She pushed herself off the bed and stood up, ready to explain she had plenty of towels, thanks. But it wasn't housekeeping. It was the weird white man from the rental car parking lot, and he was just as scary dry now that he'd dried off. and he'd close the door behind him. "What are you doing?" she said, trying to keep the fear out of her voice. "Get out of here." Dana had always been good at reading people, and this man's unblinking stare told her he was about 10 seconds from slamming her head into the wall, and letting him know how terrified she was would only make things worse. "You have something of mine," he said. "Give it to me and I'll leave." Surely he couldn't be talking about the rancid soda. Why would he care about that? "I can't give it to you. I drank it." "What?" He looked over suspiciously. "Why? Because it was a soda?" She braced herself against the wall, which was nice and cool. This fever was weird. It was like the swollen, hot feeling you got when you stubbed a toe, only all over. "I think I need a doctor." Had she only thought that or said it out loud? The man moved closer, but she had bigger problems. Her body felt wrong. Too short, too weak, the wrong taste inside her mouth, the wrong smell on her skin, like someone else should have been standing in this hotel room instead of her. A ripple of heat went through her, and for a terrifying moment, she felt her body melt. Yuck. And then it felt like the room had shrunk. It took her a moment to realize that this was because she'd grown a few inches. She could feel the strength in her muscles, especially in her arms, because she was now a man. Very, very definitely a man. She tried to move her head to look in the mirror, but she couldn't. She couldn't open her mouth either. She was stuck in her body like a passenger without being able to control it. Dana was always in control. She didn't like this, not at all. The man from the parking lot had his arms wrapped around himself like he was cold. "Jay?" he asked. He sounded scared. She felt her face crinkle into a smile. "Adam," Jay said with her mouth. "Oh, God," Adam said. It actually worked. He grabbed them by the shoulders and kissed them, a hard, desperate kiss that Jay returned with enthusiasm. This was not, in any way, how Dana had planned to spend her evening. What the hell just happened? Who are these people? This was stupid. She was not going to let the people who'd stolen her body get away with it. She knew what she was supposed to feel like, and all she had to do was pull everything back in. She must have closed her eyes while she changed. While she opened them, Adam had moved back a step and was pointing a gun at her. "Shoot me and your boyfriend dies," she said. She was proud of how calm she sounded. "Maybe not," Adam said with a little smile that made her shiver. "You want to risk it?" He paused to think. Without taking his eyes off her, Adam slowly set the gun on the bedside table. That only made her feel a little better. A guy that confident with a gun could probably kill her with his hands. "What did you do to him?" Adam asked. "Nothing. He's right here." She put her hand where she could feel Jay lurking inside her, a strange ball of warmth right at the solar plexus. If she paid attention, she could even pick up some of what he was feeling, a mixture of confusion and love, and for some reason, grief. She tried to pat her curly hair back into shape and scowled. She'd like to be more put together. She especially wished that she wasn't wearing her acid green yoga pants and an old Space Invaders t-shirt, but this was as good as it was going to get. "What happened to me?" Adam crossed his arms. "You drank a reboot of someone else. Your boyfriend, Jay." He glowered at her, refusing to confirm anything. "You called him by name, idiot." "Great," she said. "How do I get him out of me?" A brief pause while Adam considered. "I don't know." And I'll stop there. Thank you so much for letting me do this.